Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with Alex and Ryan. We're talking about Jazz Chisholm today. Obviously, we could talk about all the negatives the Yankees have experienced over the last couple days, losing two straight games, one to the Nationals and two to the Cardinals to lose this series. Now we're going up against the Texas Rangers. But listen, the pitching, we'll cover it briefly, Ryan. I think we have to allocate just a minute here to that performance yesterday, 14-7. The Yankees aren't losing because of their offense, my friends. The Yankees are losing because of their pitching. Nestor Cortez, coming off 3 performances where he gave up 1 earned run combined, gave up 5 earned runs in 4 innings yesterday. He just didn't look like himself. Wasn't getting the swings and misses. Wasn't locating properly. He blamed the rain a little bit. He couldn't get great control on the ball. So maybe it was a weather situation. It did start pouring at one point. Are you willing to give him kind of like a cough that one up scenario? Are you like Nestor Cortez?
Yeah,
gotta be better.
The defense was also not good behind him. It just wasn't good behind him. It's so dumb. That game I think only had 1 registered error, and if you watch that game,
Soto had a couple bad moments.
Not even just him. There's that double play. There's a ball to Volpe. I think he could have gotten. He could have gotten to. Now it was rainy, so that's it's tougher to move laterally. And then the Verdugo one, I don't know if he could have gotten that ball as well, but why is he shifted all the way over there? It was just weird. It was a weird, just a stupid, dumb, really frustrating game. Really, the bullpen comes in and gives up 9 total runs. Efros gets bombed in his first outing. Canley finally has Cousins. A bad outing after. Yeah, Cousins. He did allow base runners to reach. He has fault in this, and then Canley comes in. He has his first bad outing in probably a month and a half. Just wasn't a good game. Wasn't a good series. It was just a frustrating series. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, you're right. And you want to know the thing that really is frustrating me, though? Consistent defensive lapses. It's pretty regular these days that we're seeing the Yankees make bad defensive plays. On the bright side, Anthony Rizzo looked fantastic in his first game back. He was, hitting the ball well, seeing things. If he starts to get hot here and shows, his usual self over the past couple of years, barring last year, obviously, we're gonna get a lot of good production from the first base position where we've been a kind of thin. DJ LeMahieu and Ben Rice have been inconsistent. That's saying it kindly. So Rizzo kind of returning, having a good game. That it hopefully inspires a lot more offensive production. But yeah, the bullpen just imploded. It happens. You have games like that sometimes. We just try to brush it off, look ahead. Nestor Cortez, had 1 bad performance in 4 games. I think we can, confidently say we'll give him a break on that one. The weather did make an impact. He did suggest as much, so we'll take his word for it for now. But we need to see more complete games. When you're putting up 7 runs, Ryan, you got to win baseball games. First and foremost, if you're putting up 7 runs, you got to win baseball games. It is that simple. But when it comes to Jazz Chisholm, this is a player, and I was doing some research about him this morning. I wrote an article, and I was, looking at his statistics, trying to figure out what has made him so good recently. In 101 games with the Miami Marlins, he collected 1.7 WAR. Over 23 games with the Yankees, he's already at 1.5. This guy is playing at a whole different level with the Bombers, and personally, I think it's because he wanted to be competitive. He just wants to be a competitive, high-octane, energetic, polarizing player, right? He is just, all or nothing with Jazz Chisholm. And right now, we're getting the all of Jazz right now. Sometimes in the past, he's disappeared, gotten hurt, whatever it might be. He's played a career-high 124 games or matched it. He's only played over 100 games once in his career before this season. So now he's definitely on pace to play a career-high in games, which is really encouraging for the Yankees. But what we're seeing from him is a elite level offensive threat, right? The 26-year-old, we have contract, control over him until 2027 when he hits free agency. We have multiple years. I'm curious to see what the Yankees do long-term at third base. Do they keep him there? They move him to second base if Gleyber Torres walks. You obviously have him as a center fielder if need be. He's kind of this elite utility piece now that can play multiple spots, but 22 homers career high, 64 RBIs career high, 30 stolen bases career high, 116 WRC plus collectively, but with the Yankees, it's at 190. Ryan, what have you seen from Jazz so far that's making you think this is probably the best trade acquisition during the season that we've made since I can't even remember? The Yankees have been horrid, not just hard, embarrassing when it comes to in-season trades. This has been one of those, okay, this is a superstar, and we gave away a couple prospects. Yeah, we loved Augustin Ramirez, but Austin Wells being a monster makes it a little bit easier to swallow. What do you think about Jazz Chisholm right now and the impact he's made and what he can do in the future on this team, especially with Gleyber Torres headed to free agency?
Yeah, so I mean, one of the big things that I've noticed with Jazz Chisholm is that he's actively trying to pull the ball to right field more often. He's a left-handed hitter at Yankee Stadium. He knows the assignment, right? Like, he understands the assignment. You're a left-handed hitter at Yankee Stadium. You've got power. You've got right field. That's what right field is for. Right field is for a guy like Jazz Chisholm who has good raw power, but not like Judge or Stantonian power. You just flick that ball to right field with ease every single time. You will get home runs. You will get extra base hits. And he's a great stolen base threat. He's already stolen 8 bases in 23 games for the Yankees. Hasn't been caught yet. Look at the spray chart. It's really fascinating to see that the difference in his fly ball spray chart and how that heat map looks. It's a lot more contact to right field. It's a lot more contact to the pull side. It's where his power is. It's where a guy like Chisholm, and not say he can't go the opposite field, because we've seen him go dead central. We've seen him go opposite field. We've seen him go right center field. He can hit the ball to any part of the ballpark, but he can reliably get the ball out to right field. That is where Jazz Chisholm can get the ball out. And yeah, it's going to result in, sometimes a good slider in the dirt from lefty, and he just swings over it, but I'll take it. I'll take that when I know I'm going to get some damage contact. I know I'm going to get a ball that's absolutely destroyed to center field. I know I'm going to get a ball that's crushed to left center field or whatever it may be. That's the kind of player this team needed. They needed another dynamic guy, a guy who can win a game on his own. And this isn't a shot at, how some people appreciate the game, review the game, but power and speed kill, right? Like, power and speed, those are the best ways to generate offense. I think we're past the age of I think we've been past the age of oh, you need a bunch of contact hitters on your team. Look at Alex Verdugo. Look at DJ LeMahieu. Those guys don't strike out. They're not good hitters. They're just not. And I know there are guys who hit for power who aren't good hitters. Last year, Stanton had 25 to 30 home runs, somewhere in that range, and he did not have a good offensive season. It was not a good offensive season. But again, for the most part, guys who hit for power are game changers. Those guys can win a baseball game on their own. Those guys can single-handedly change the tide of a game and guide your offense to victory. We saw it with Austin Wells on Friday. It wasn't, 2 singles. It wasn't 2 dinky dunk, a bunt. No. It was 2 bombs, right? Because 2 bombs, that's how the Yankees won that game. Because that's how you sustainably win games. It's by putting up multiple runs in one swing. That's how it works in this league. Pitchers are better than ever before. The stuff across the league is better than it's ever been. Velo is up, and you have a guy like Jazz Chisholm who is able to swing for the fences and connect more times than not. And then kind of the last thing I wanted to add about Chisholm, I know that third base defense has been a little shaky for him. I think there is a warranted discussion about maybe he should shuffle to second base, but I think he can also adapt to third base. I think he has the athletic skills, and he has, the abilities to find himself become a competent third baseman. Time will tell. Some guys just never adopt those skills or adapt to that position, and then you just have to move off of them there. I think that the errors he makes seem to be dumb mistakes. They don't really seem to be lack of athleticism, lack of a feel of being an infielder, that kind of thing. That doesn't make him a good defender. That makes him one that I think can grow into the role. He just has to do it, right? It's just a matter of, can he do it or not? We'll see, right? It's kind of like a hitter where they've got a ton of pop, and you're if they can just, make some better swing decisions or whatever it may be, he's just got to develop a little bit at third. Unfortunately, it's in the middle of a pennant race. I don't really love that, but yeah, I mean, this is just a message to the Yankee front office. If you want to win games, you need as many guys in your lineup who can do damage as possible. There's a 21-year-old in AAA who can do a decent amount of damage for your lineup, and you have a 27-year-old left fielder who isn't doing any damage in your lineup. Had a good game yesterday, though. Verdugo, I mean, he had some big hits, even though he didn't win. I'm not trying to downplay that, but I'm just saying, power kills, not dink and dunk 9 hitters who can barely hit 230, 240. So yeah.
It's also just a small sample. He's been good since August 24th. It's been a week. We have 131 games of sample to say, okay, well, Verdugo has struggled a lot. He's been one of our worst players. He might be our second worst behind DJ LeMahieu. So, that is problematic. But, we're not here to talk about Jasson Dominguez. We all know that Verdugo is the only thing standing in his way right now. The service time manipulation, there is no service time manipulation. There is no service time accumulating right now. So if they call him up, that does not play a part. That does not play a variable or catalyst in this equation. The 130 at bats to determine if he's a rookie, just sit him a couple days. Really, are we playing this game? It's ridiculous in any case. I'm not going to go down that path right now. But when it comes to Jazz, his impact, that trade is going to pay off in dividends long term, because next year the Yankees will have some things to answer, and if they lose Juan Soto, Jazz plays center, Judge goes back to right field, and we cannot afford to lose Soto. Obviously, he makes us perennial World Series contenders, whereas if you lose him, we got a lot to figure out, my friends. We can't afford to lose Juan Soto. Last year is a good example of what happens when you don't have Juan Soto. You look at second base. He can play second base at a very high level. So Jazz can fill that position. I think the Yankees will need to go out and find a third baseman. I mean, thinking about the long term, I think that second base should be filled by Jazz. I think that you bring back Soto. You have to. In our outfield, Jasson Dominguez, Juan Soto, Aaron Judge. That is the best outfield in baseball by most accounts. And then third base, you figure it out, right? Is Caleb Durbin ready? Can he play third base? Is that a guy that you trust? Really low strikeout rate, good contact qualities. Can he lead off for you? It might be optimistic to throw a guy that's never played in the MLB before into a leadoff spot, but it is something that we will have conversations about as the season progresses. And obviously, the spring comes around next year. But right now, Ryan, we'll project this ahead because I think it's kind of an interesting conversation. Do you think that Jazz is our second baseman next year? And who's playing third base for you?
I think they're going to keep Jazz at third. Unless they find a third baseman externally, I think that's what they'll do. Would also like to point out that I think that the Yankees putting Jazz at third is not the worst thing in the world if they figure out what they're doing at second. I think Durbin profiles better for second base as well. I don't think Caleb Durbin is as much of a... I think Caleb Durbin's clearly a second baseman, maybe a shortstop. That's a maybe. But I think Volpe, I'm more than happy with what Volpe's giving me at shortstop, so I can keep him at short. Durbin can also play some outfield. I don't necessarily think he's going to have to play outfield. But yeah, I kind of foresee it more as Durbin plays second and Chisholm plays third if Durbin were to win a job. I also think the Yankees may look to invest in a veteran, kind of a versatile... I know we're getting ahead of ourselves here with next year, but some sort of like versatile veteran infielder. I think that would work as well. Or they could just have Cabrera split time at second. That
not
also,
DJ LeMahieu, not that veteran.
He. Let's be honest. Let me be very frank here. I am critical of Verdugo, but I do think he has a place in this team because I think he's a very good defensive left fielder. There's DJ LeMahieu should be cut, like full like straight up like. Good Yankee he's had a good Yankee career. I think he had like a 111 WRC plus in his career at the Yankees. Was an excellent defensive player. All kudos to him. He's got to go. I'm sorry. Out of all the players in this team, look, you're going to have Rizzo play first. If you need a backup first baseman, you can have Cabrera slide over there. You can, if something happens to Rizzo, you just go bring up Ben Rice or something. I don't really care. It's every option you have at first is better than DJ LeMahieu. It just is what it is, right? Like you just can't. If you need somebody who can play better defense at third, you have John Birdie's. You know what? They may not need to get a veteran second/third baseman because they do have John Birdie, and I imagine he's like $4 million for next year. Like, that's not really enough for me to say, oh, you got to cut the guy, you got to get rid of him. I think that's fine at that price tag. I think you would agree there. Their infield depth might be set for next year. That's TBD to me. Like, they may add like a first baseman, but I think for the most part, like their second, short, third, I think they're fine there. And then as it pertains to Jazz, again, like he's just so fast, dude. I love it. I love that Jazz is fast. He's got power. Here's something that shocked me. Alex, the Yankees have been in the bottom half of the league in sprint speed every single year dating back to 2019. The last time they were above average in terms of sprint speed was 2018. I'd consider that 2018 one of the better Yankee teams they've had. They won 100 games that year. That's the second highest win total for an Aaron Judge-led team in the Baby Bomber era. That team got knocked out in a narrow Game 4 by a World Series Red Sox team that was just better than everybody else. In 2017, that was the other year where they were a fast team relative to the rest of the league. That team went to Game 7 of the ALCS. I'm not saying that speed makes a team inherently better. You may have to sacrifice some power or even some, financial resources to get guys who are faster. But those two teams have something in common. They trusted their young talent. This team at some point just stopped doing that. Again, even when Rice started struggling, like, why not let him grind out those at-bats when DJ LeMahieu was your only other option? I think that was stupid. Why ice out a guy like Cabrera the second he starts getting hot for a guy like DJ LeMahieu? Again, that's pretty stupid. Those are the kinds like Wells, they let him get going, and once he got going, it panned out for them because you just let a guy adjust and adapt to the major league level. Volpe looked like an awful defensive shortstop when he first came up, and they let him struggle and adapt, and he's become a great defensive shortstop, and because of that, he's probably a 3 to 4 WAR player. I think this team needs guys like Jazz who are in their mid-20s, who have speed, who are dynamic young players, and I think this team needs more of that. I just do. I think this team needs more of that. Like, I think the Yankees need more people and more players like Jazz Chisholm. And I specify people and players. They need more people who, like Jazz, are just unapologetically themselves, who are just very boisterous people who carry themselves with this, like, no nonsense. Like, not that Jazz is like a knucklehead, like he's running around saying whatever he wants, but he says, hey, I'm going to be back in 10 days. You know what? He's back in 10 days, right? There's that level of, like, he'll say things that, hey, I guess other players on this team would not publicly say, but I think that's important. I just think it is. I think it's important to have a guy who is just so authentic and so unapologetically himself. I think that kind of energy reverberates around a clubhouse. I think he's so different from every other Yankee. He really is. He is a stark contrast, and I mean it in every positive way, not just on the field, but off it as well. He is a contrast to everything the Yankees have stood for the last 20 years. And I want more of that. I want more guys who are like that. Because the Yankees are a usually patient offensive team who they'll wait for their pitch and they'll grind out at bats and they won't say anything remotely interesting after their game or provide any personality. Jasson's an aggressive hitter who will seek out whatever pitch he thinks looks remotely decent, pull it, try to hit the ball 450 feet to right field. You can tell when he's trying to hit a home run, right? Like, he plays like that, right? He'll go swipe third because he can. He's Jazz Chisholm, right? He's fast. He can do whatever he wants. That kind of thing. I think the Yankees need more guys on their team like that. I don't know if you feel any differently, but he's a stark contrast to the Yankees, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, here's the thing when it comes to personality, character, things that Jazz bring to the table. I don't understand why people care about, like, a player being outspoken, as long as it's not, like, a detriment to the team, which it's not. Jazz is not a detriment to the team in any way. In fact, he's helping this team in more ways than one. I really love it. I love the energy. I love the aura. The Yankees are this boring, like, just straightforward, straight shooter, like, you know, company team. Everyone's a company man. It's just boring. You know what I mean? I want this team to have some spark. I want this team to have some energy. I want this team to have some synergy and some fun, most of all. And sometimes it looks like they're bored. You know, sometimes they play like they're bored. They play like they don't care. They play like they're with their heads down. They play like it's not live or die. To be a New York Yankee is a live or die scenario every single day. Everybody is dispensable unless you're Aaron Judge or Juan Soto. Everybody, right? Nestor Cortez can be replaced next week by Clark Schmidt. Marcus Stroman can be replaced next week by Clark Schmidt. Garrett Cole's the only one that's like in that rotation. I'm like, yeah, like he's protected, right? Everybody else, every single game, every single pitch is your future with this team. We could send you to the freaking nowhere in Chicago if you want. Send you to the White Sox. Have fun losing every year. Have fun losing in Miami. You know what I mean? Like, this team, to be a Yankee, is special. Jazz kind of gets that. Kind of embodies that, right? Verdugo plays sometimes like he does not care. Like that he is not a New York freaking Yankee. And that pisses me off. Like, I love the energy that Jazz brings because he doesn't take it for granted. He loves the hype. He loves the fans. He loves the attention. And to be a New York Yankee, you got to love all those things. Derek Jeter embodied it. Alex Rodriguez embodied it. Mark Teixeira embodied it. Andy Pettitte embodied it. Jorge Posada. All these guys, Bernie Williams, all these legends embodied what it meant to be a Yankee. And they played like it mattered.
And I also think it's important to note, like, that buttoned-up PR thing, it worked for a guy like Derek Jeter because Derek Jeter, he's Derek Jeter, right? Like, I think there's a, it was a different era, right? Like, you don't have as much social media attention on you. Like, of course. It's just kind of
play
different.
Well,
right? I'm not trying to.
No, I know.
I'm just saying, like, when you look back on like what that team was, what that team's attitude was, they played with a "we are going to kill you" mentality, right? Like, we are going to kill you. I don't know.
This team plays as survival. This team plays with nowadays plays with a survival instinct.
I don't know what this. I want to clarify. Like, I don't know these guys. I don't know any single one of these. I've never had a conversation with Jazz Chisholm. I've never had a conversation with Aaron Judge. I've never had a conversation with Alex Verdugo. Like, I don't know what they think when they play on the field. Only they know that. But it doesn't reflect well when you are a team that doesn't play well from behind. When you're down 3 runs, you never win. When you are, when you play worse teams, you usually fall flat on your face, right? Those are things that those could just be coincidences, but when they're both happening at the same time, Alex, it's very easy to see how fans draw the conclusion that this team doesn't have that, in an ironic twist, they don't have that dog in them, right? Like they don't, right? When we talk about dogs, when we talk about, killers or whatever it may be, in a weird sense, and I hate this term, I hate saying this because I feel like a lot of people incorrectly assign this kind of phrase to teams or to players. I don't know if this team has that killer mentality that, like, we're gonna kill you guys. Like, this is food in front of us. This team is gonna get crushed. We're gonna crush these guys. They've allowed a team like the Cardinals set their season high run total against the Yankees. Their season high hit total against the Yankees. White Sox did the same thing. Like, those are two teams, varying degrees of crap, because the White Sox are historically bad. You should kill the White Sox. You should be killing them. You should look at them and go, dog food, dog food, dog food. Let's kill these guys. And instead, it's a lot of lackadaisical play. It's a lot of, what are we doing, right? Like, what's going on? Why does this team look so disinterested? A lot of the, like you mentioned, a lot of the sloppy defensive plays. We were like, is this team going out there thinking, right? Is this team going out there and playing these teams thinking to themselves, we are going to kill these guys. We're going to go out there. We're going to murder these guys. Or are they going out there like, yeah, we'll get them. Like that mentality of, like, we got
no urgency.
Right, there's like that tomorrow. And, like, I think it's important to note that, like, one game shouldn't sink or swim. It shouldn't sink or float this team in the regular season, right? But every game down the stretch has added importance, because every game changes your odds of winning the division.
Yes.
You should have won yesterday. You should have beaten the Nationals in that series. You should have had a 4-2 week. And I need to call on my guys like Judge and Soto, like, guys, you guys got to play better. Yesterday was not a great game for Juan Soto. It was a really bad game. It was a bad week for Juan Soto. It was a bad week, probably a bad weekend for Aaron Judge. More said weekend. He had a decent series against the Nationals, although he had that double play. I need them to show up. Right? Like, I need them to show up right now. Like, I need my MVPs to be the MVPs again right now. Because these supplemental bats, I need my pitching staff. I need everybody on this team to get it together. It's so weird that they can't pull it together. I mean, Jazz, he missed time, came back, and it's like he hasn't skipped a beat, right?
Yeah.
The guy's playing with his head on fire. He's running around. He's doing a million different things. Granted, defensively, he is part of that problem. He has made some boneheaded errors. I'm not going to deny that, right? But at least he's contributing on the other sides of the ball, right? I need this team to get their heads out of their asses, and it feels there's a sense of complacency. That might be the word we're looking for here. There's a lot of like, I have my job. I'll play. Like, and I don't love that. Like,
what really pisses me off the most is when Aaron Boone says things like, it's all in front of us. Everything's in front of us. Brother, we need to be thinking about today. Not what's happening next week. Not what's happening in 2 weeks. Every single day is if you look at a sample of a month, right? The performance of every individual day is comprised. That is what the month is comprised of. Every individual day. If we're looking ahead to get right into the future, that means we're forgetting about right now. That means we're not thinking about getting right now. We're thinking, in a week, maybe in 2, maybe in 3, maybe by the postseason rolls around, just keep pushing it. He does this all the time. But we're looking at 2 months. We're going on 2 months now where Aaron Boone has been saying, it's all in front of us. It's all in front of us. Brother, we need to be playing well now. We need to be holding ourselves responsible. We need to be having accountability. Right? We cannot keep pushing it into the future as something that we're going to fix. This should not be a situation where we need to fix things in the future. It's be a thing we need to be fixing things today.
They need to click now. They need to click now. It needs to happen 2 weeks ago. It had to be pushing it down the road. If we're being honest, they had to have clicked in August when the schedule was like they
had to dominate.
They're about 3 or 4 weeks.
They wasted so much opportunity to pull away in the East, dude. It's so much. It's embarrassing.
If we're being honest, we're talking about. They should have clicked 3 weeks ago, right? Like and they looked like they were starting to build some sort of momentum. We kind of felt like they were like, okay, they're getting back on track. And now we're back to kind of like, it kind of feels like we're in the same spot we were in mid-July. This is not a bad team. I refuse to say this is a bad team. I refuse to call them anything but a good team. They gotta click, man. It's gotta be now. Like, it has to be tonight in Texas. It has to be next time you play the Red Sox. Next time you play whatever. You have to go on a run. You have to rattle 7 straight. You have to do something like that, because if they don't, they will not win the division. They won't. The Baltimore Orioles are playing the White Sox. They're gonna kill the White Sox. I'd be shocked if the Yankees are still in first place after that White Sox series. Pray to God Chicago does us a favor. But we're preying on Chicago, a historically bad team, to do us a favor. Like, right? You gotta take care of business for the Yankees, man. They have not taken care of business. They have not done a good enough job of taking care of business, doing what's right in front of them. This team has not responded well to the call to action from their manager that it's right in front of them and to get back on track. If this team falls short in the postseason, that's going to reflect poorly on the manager. And on top of that, we're all going to look back on the decision to not call up Dominguez and say, what the hell, right? Like, what were we thinking? What were we doing? It's this weird, like, I feel like they're overthinking this situation.
They always do.
This is a weird case of overthink. Like, go call up the guy. I know the underlying metrics haven't been great in AAA, but I'm sure that has more to do with the guy's not generating as much power because he's just coming back from Tommy John surgery. A similar thing happened to Bryce Harper. No one was alarmed because it turned right around after.
Yeah, and by the way, last year when they promoted him, he wasn't hitting home runs left and right. No, he showed up and hit 4 homers in 8 games. Like,
I think
he turned it up.
I think that people also, like, it's not like we're asking him to be a superstar. He just has to be decent. Competent. Just a competent hitter. And because he's such a good base runner, he can provide value like that. The Yankees need to make the right decision. There's no pick attachment. The Yankees actually will not get a pick next year if Jasson Dominguez wins Rookie of the Year. It is clearly that they believe that they are better off with Alex Verdugo than Jasson Dominguez right now. They are wrong. They are so dead wrong. They're so unbelievably, unequivocally, undoubtedly wrong. And it's only them who views it that way. They're the only people who think that they're in the right on this, and that's scary. That's a scary reality. I understand that there's concern that if he comes up and he fumbles, what happens? Well, you know what? Volpe came up and fell flat on his face. Wells came up and fell flat on his face. Those are 2 productive major leaguers. If Jasson Dominguez can't come up and fall flat on his face without, and then he loses all his confidence and he then sucks after, maybe the guy wasn't cut out for Major League Baseball. If he is not capable of coming up and failing a little bit, he's not a major leaguer. He'll never be.
Everyone fails. We've seen a whole season of DJ LeMahieu failing. A whole season of Verdugo failing.
The guy has been falling on his face for 5 straight starts. Do you think Will Warren's walking himself and going, I'll never be a major leaguer? It's probably like, all right, got my shit kicked.
Move on to this one.
Move on to the next one. Exactly. You learn from
most of all, though. Exactly. Most of all, though, if they call up Dominguez with 1 week until the postseason or 2 weeks until the postseason, they wasted time to give him reps to get used to the MLB pitching. It's just a waste of time. If they call him up and he doesn't get into a groove and he needs a little bit more time, it's only a disservice to themselves. And I'm looking at the schedule in August, my friends. We lost a series to the Angels. We lost a series to the Detroit Tigers. We lost a series to the Washington Nationals and the St. Louis Cardinals. And you expect me to believe that this team is going to walk in to Houston and beat the Astros in the ALDS? No way. There's no way, right? This team plays down to their opponents, but then they go in and they beat Cleveland. They kind of put a show on against them, except for that 1 extra innings loss in the 12th inning where they could have won, but they blew it. Now they have to face off against Texas, the Cubs, Kansas City, Boston, who always give us trouble, Seattle, Oakland, who's obviously a weaker team, Baltimore, that's the second to last series of the game. That could determine the division. And then the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are a sneaky team who can win some games every now and then.
Yeah, the Cubs are red hot. Pirates, it depends on if the Pirates shut down schemes or not. In my opinion, if they don't shut down schemes, you're gonna have to face them. That's not gonna be great.
Right.
But you're not talking about like a light part of schedule. You got to kick some ass against some tough opponents. And they put themselves in this spot. They did. Yep. They've put themselves in this spot. And if they can only play up. To competition, look, I'm sure that's not going to kill them in the postseason, right? Because you don't play, the Angels in the postseason. But I don't know, man. I think that we're looking at this team right now, and it's just they have to click. It's up to them. There's nothing else they can do. They either do it or they don't. If they don't, there's a lot of questions we're going to have to ask in the offseason about this team. And look, if they lose in the World Series, look, you got to the World. If you lose in 6 or 7 in the World Series,
I'll be sad if they lose.
I'd be sad. I just wouldn't be like
sad, but I'd be like,
I just wouldn't
be
like.
We had a chance. We got there. We had a shot.
I wouldn't call it a failure of a season, right? I wouldn't be like this. But if they lose in the ALDS,
that's
it's a failure of a season,
now.
Right?
Yeah. Look, we would have gone to the World Series with the inconsistent pitching we've seen. Dude, this team has a 121 positive run differential, the best in baseball, and they are half a game above the Orioles, who have an 87-plus differential. This team is not failing because of a lack of offense, right? Not even close. They're failing because of a lack of pitching. And if we reflect on Aaron Cashman failing to get a pitcher that can make a difference, that is what we'll remember. And obviously Dominguez being called up, we could add more offensive spark. It's a margins game in the postseason, 1, 2, 3 runs. Sometimes it's that one swing that can change a game, and Verdugo is not hitting with power. He's not going to win this game with a walk-off homer. You're hoping for dink and dunk singles from Verdugo, occasional doubles, right? He was at 10 homers, instead of 1 homer, 2 homers in like 2 months.
The best way to put it is that when you make a mistake pitch to Jasson Dominguez, he'll put it over the fence. When you make a mistake pitch to Alex Verdugo, it's a single, right? Like, or he'll ground out. Like, you can make mistakes to Alex Verdugo. You can just throw a lot of strikes. He'll get himself out. He's one of the rare hitters in the modern age where, like, you can just throw strikes at them because they'll get themselves out. You can't throw a fastball over the middle of the plate to even Joey Gallo because he can hit it 450 feet for a home run, right? That's such a, and it's such a, people don't understand this. Walks and singles are not, they're successes for pitchers still. Because a guy's only on first. It's not a failure to give up a hit or give up a walk as long as the guy doesn't score. So, yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at right now, man. I mean, it's really what I'm really excited to know is that this team it's right in front of them, right? Like they can just go out and start winning games, and maybe a harder part of the schedule is what they need. Maybe they just need to play good teams. Maybe they just need to play quality opponents. Maybe that's what's going to fix them because they play bad teams, they play like crap. They play good teams, hey, they look like studs. So, unfortunately, the Red Sox are something. So maybe that means the Yankees will play poorly against them because when they're red hot, maybe the Yankees would actually. Yeah, that's where we're at right now. And yeah, I mean, pray to God that Chris Flexen can outpitch Corbin Burns. Like that's where we're at, folks. We're rooting for Andrew Benintendi and Nico Lopez. Like that's Nicky Lopez. That's where we're at, man. Like we're really hope the Orioles lose and hope we can get it going. That's where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this team has it. Look, I think that we can all agree this team has the talent to win any game at any moment, right? They have enough talent. It really just boils down to the pitching stepping up in a big way, and it really comes down to the discipline of their hitters and their offense. The Yankees have a very, very solid offense. I'm not concerned about scoring runs. I'm concerned about consistent pitching, and Garrett Cole's even been volatile, obviously with the injuries and whatnot, had a bad performance in his last outing. Nestor Cortez gets banged up yesterday. Stroman's been better as of late, but the lack of velocity is going to kill us in the postseason. And then Rodon has just been horrible, like just horrible. Luis Gil coming back from a back injury. Hopefully he can return. I think he probably goes into a bullpen role at this point, if I had to guess. Clark Schmidt, we need him to return to his self, the 60 innings he put together before the right lat injury. We need that version of Clark Schmidt. And we need it now.
Tonight we're facing Jack Leiter, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm going to double check. I've seen a lot of people suggest that that's who's starting tonight. I don't think he's starting tonight. I think he's starting, 29th, 20th. I think he's starting tonight. It's either him or Andrew Heaney. If you face Jack Leiter and the guy's been awful at the major league level. I know his stuff is really good, but if you can't beat him with Garrett Cole in the bump, like, we're fucked, right? You know what I mean? Like, we're screwed. No es bueno. That's where it's at.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's undecided.
He's starting. He's starting. And then you get Andrew Heaney tomorrow. Like, then you get Nathan Volpe.
Games, man.
Yo, you got Heaney. Heaney's not been like the worst pitcher on planet Earth. He's not the Andrew Heaney that we remember, but I remember I was beating him up the last time we faced him. We need to win these games. Evaldi's good. He's the game 3 starter. You need to win these first 2 because Evaldi.
He's been good lately. I mean, he also was against Chicago and Pittsburgh, but part of that was Minnesota
specifically
Yankees.
Kill him. We have that third game is against it's against Nathan Evaldi, and we got Stroman going. Stroman's been throwing the ball well, and he like pitches better on the road. The Yankees have to win this series, right? Like the Yankees have to win this series. Just one at a time. Take it one at a time. They've got to find a way to go on a roll here. They really do, and they don't get off days for a while. They have one more off day, I think, for the rest of the season. So
that's crazy. Yeah, the 16th of September.
That bullpen, y'all better get ready to see that bullpen. Y'all are going to be seeing that two.
We have one on the 16th of September and then one on the 23rd of September.
Well, y'all about it's September 2nd, so we don't get another one until 16th. You guys better get used to seeing this bullpen. A lot of bullpens.
We need starting pitching. We need our freaking starters to go more than.
I don't think we play on the 5th.
You're right. So we have 3 days.
Oh, thank God. 3 days.
But dude, we need. I mean, most of all though, we need our starting pitcher to go more than 5 innings. Like. Right. We need to give our bullpen a break because these guys are gassed like all the time.
And the Cubs, they sniff a playoff spot. They're 3 back.
So when you play them, there's blood in the water for the Cubs.
Yeah, let's end some let's go put an end to some seasons. Let's go put an end to Texas. Like they need to have some killer mentality. Like let's make sure go end the Cubs season. Go end the Rangers season's basically over, but go end their season. You know what I mean? Go end these team seasons. Go do that. Go put an end to them.
3 games from the wild card. They're in the mix.
Go end their season. Go end their season. Go to Chicago and go end their season. That's got to be their mentality. We're gonna go end their season. Their season's gonna end when we come to town. When you go play Boston, go end their season. When you go play Kansas City, I don't know if you can end their season. Go end their chances of winning that division. Yeah. When you play Boston, end their season. You got to go out and kill these teams. Yeah. These teams, they're holding on to hope. Kill their chances.
I don't want to see the Twins or the Royals in the wild card. I'll tell you that right now.
I want to see. I want all the smoke. I want everybody in the postseason. I want this because at the end of the day, you got to beat good teams to get to the World Series. I want everybody in the postseason. I don't care who you are. I want you in October.
Preferably not in the wild card.
Let's not play a wild card round. I would like not to play a wild card round. But if it comes down to it, I want all the smoke. I want everybody. That's the difference between like a guy like Jazz Chisholm and some of the other players on this team. A guy like Jazz, he wants to smoke. He wants everybody on. He wants to go play anybody. He came to New York and he's just swinging with this confidence, right? I need this team to play with that. Like, I'm going to end your season. Go end some seasons. This is September. There are so many fans you're going to be playing in front of on this road trip who are like holding on to this delusional hope that they're going to go make a playoff run. Go send these people crying. Go send these guys to the bars. Send these people to the bars. Go let them drink their misery away. Send them to the bars. Increase the alcohol consumption in the north side of Chicago for the weekend. Let's go do that. That's what I want this team to do. Let's go end some seasons. That's where we're at.
Yeah, let's do it. We all know the Yankees can end some seasons. They need to put their best foot forward over the next couple weeks here, have a strong September, beat some good opponents because it's a lot more of a difficult schedule in September than it was last month. So it's going to be tougher, but Yankees tend to elevate their game against better opponents and drop down to weaker ones. So we got to see the best version of themselves, my friends. Always happy to hear your thoughts down below in the YouTube comment section. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.